Hello, this is Randy Nunez, your host on Between the Chalk Lines every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. You know where to catch us on Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, you name it, you can find us. All baseball talk, all the time. And I'm here to tell you that it has gone crazy for the beginning of May. We already have four teams that have 20 wins starting on May 2nd, going into May 3rd. That is Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees, the Atlanta Braves, and the LA Dodgers. So two of them are in the AL East. Those two will probably go into the playoffs, as well as the fifth team I forgot to mention. Forgot the love there. The Cleveland Guardians in the AL Central. The Central have four teams above 500 right now. Four teams that are all within 2.5 games of first place, and that is a very strong division going into this year. Within those five teams, the Guardians, the Royals, the Tigers, Twins, and the White Sox, who have actually gained some steam from last week when I talked to Stephanie Strimpluski and we talked about how badly the White Sox were doing. Now they have kind of turned it around. They're 6-25. They're not going to go to the playoffs. They have a winning percentage of just 194 going into Friday today, where I'm recording, and yeah, it looks ugly in Chicago for the Sox, but hey, on the other side of town, for the Cubs have 19 wins. They're second place behind the Brewers. We're doing really well. Also, the Cubs are only one game behind Brewers, and I wanted to say good job, Shota Imanaga, for getting Rookie of the Month, NL Rookie of the Month, as well as my personal pick for NL pitcher, but rookie pitcher, not to outdo obviously Ranger Suarez of the Phillies, who are second place behind the Braves. I mean, it's tough. They have 21 wins. The Phillies have 21 wins. Are half a game back behind the Braves right now, and are doing fantastic. The Braves actually had no players named for the March/April awards, but I'm sure they'll have someone named for the May awards. I mean, you can't outdo Ronald Acuna Jr. You can't outdo Ozzie Albies and all those guys. Obviously, they're a stacked team. They won the World Series a couple of years ago. I have them as my personal pick to win the World Series this year in 2024, and their first. I know you can't win the division in April, and you can certainly lose it in April, as we talked about last week with Stephanie. But the Braves are the best overall team in the National League right now, going into today, Friday, the 3rd May. So, what can I say? I know that there are a ton of people saying the Dodgers are going to win it, but I think the Dodgers have a long track record of obviously choking in the playoffs. And I think that's what they're going to do again. They're just going to choke. The Phillies, they're going to go to the playoffs. The Braves, they're going to go to the playoffs. The Dodgers, they're going to go to the playoffs. In American League, you can obviously count on Baltimore, New York. Obviously, Boston Red Sox are not out of it yet. AL Central, they're going to have either Cleveland, the Royals, or the Tigers represent the Central Division. And in the West, it's crazy. Going into today, they are only 2.5 games out of first place. Who would have thought the Oakland A's would be 2.5 games out of first place while the owner is trying to get out of the city and go to Vegas? They're trying. This is the wild thing. You got Mason Miller, who was AL Rookie of the Year relief pitcher, and he is just killing it the way he's throwing the ball out there in Oakland. Obviously, Seattle, Texas are battling it out. There's only a half game there split between those two teams, with Seattle on top going into Friday. Um, the only really super close divisions in National League, obviously, as I said, the Braves, the Phillies, half a game there. Uh, American League, National League still would be the Cubs and the Brewers, one game there. So just one good streak could change a lot of things. The Yankees have dropped in the overall standings as far as American League. If you're looking at the wild card, because you have them now in third place behind Baltimore and Cleveland, which is weird to say. And then right behind the Yankees is actually Kansas City. So you have Kansas City in the picture now in the Central, only 1.5 games behind the Guardians. Uh, they didn't have anybody for the awards, but I mean, they do have a pretty good team with some of those players. The Major League Baseball March/April awards were as listed. Mookie Betts, a sure bet, pun intended, for the Dodgers, National League Player of the Month. Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles, AL Player of the Month. Both of those guys, I named those two in my article that I had. If you read that, if you didn't, you should go read it. Uh, More awards that are on here were AL Rookie of the Month. I had Colton Cowser. They named him Colton Cowser. National League Rookie of the Month. I actually had Michael Bush of the Cubs, but they had Shota Imanaga, which I find, kind of hard. I've always been actually just recently been told, if you look into the hobby, which we've mentioned on this podcast before, the hobby is very player position or position player centric. When you look at cards, you look at card values. The biggest names are going to be guys that play on the field every single day, guys that pitch once every week or a couple times a week. In relievers aren't all that highly sought after as far as big winning cards. If you're looking at cards right now for future investment, this is not investment advice by any means that whatsoever. Just as far as if I were to go pick a couple guys, I would go pick Adley Rutschman, rookies, Gunnar Henderson rookies. I would pick some Mookie Betts rookies, obviously. Shota Imanaga would be someone that I would look at in the back as far as getting some, of his rookie cards. But the other top performers, besides Mookie Betts and Gunnar Henderson, obviously, top pitchers, AL Pitcher of the Month, Jose Barrios. I had Tariq Skubal of the Tigers, and if you look at his numbers, they are, I would say, worthy of being Pitcher of the Month. And if you look at the team, Detroit, they are fifth overall in the American League, whereas the Blue Jays are quite a few, numbers below them. You have Detroit, and then it's the Twins, and then it's the Red Sox, and then it's the Mariners, and then you have the Rangers, and then you have the Blue Jays. Um, I don't know where Major League Baseball got Jose Barrios for Pitcher of the Month. Yeah, he has quite a number of innings under his belt, which is he's leading actually in Major League Baseball high in 42 and 2/3 as of yesterday. And then he's got the 1.44 ERA, which is amazing. He got 7 starts. I mean, he's helping out Chris Bassett, Kevin Gosman, uh, but I don't think it's enough to merit AL Pitcher of the Month. Ranger Suarez, I just mentioned him. of the Phillies, National League Pitcher of the Month. It's amazing his microscopic 0.63 WHIP in 6 starts, with which the Phillies have won all 6 starts, and I think that is what puts him on top. And his 1.32 ERA over 41 innings of work, amazing, great guy. He's also just 28. He recorded a shutout this month, March slash April, which was on April 16, just 112 pitches against the Rockies. Amazing start there. Bona fide aces between him and Zach Wheeler. So the Phillies have 2 aces, and I mean, it's just amazing what the Phillies have in the works right there. They're gonna go to the playoffs. Like, American League Rookie of the Month, like I said, Colton Cowser of Baltimore, and then National League Rookie of the Month, Shota Imanaga, who I think Shota over his, I believe it's 5 starts, just amazing. He's got .78 ERA. It's crazy. He's got left-hand hitters locked up, and if he continues, we had the whole Yoshinobu Yamamoto talk going to the Dodgers. He might get beat out for Rookie of the Year by his fellow countryman in Shota Imanaga when everything is done and said. Going to the relievers, American League, Mason Miller, just an easy, flamethrower, 100 plus. He's gonna just throw it right by you. Did not have a great beginning. When he started to close for the A's, he had 6 consecutive appearances in April 9th and April 26th, where he started in April 9th with a 6.0 ERA, dropped that to below 1.5. It's crazy. But again, just April. They had Ryan Helsley from St. Louis Cardinals as the National League Reliever of the Month. I had him as well. He has done great since missing half of last season with a forearm strain, and I think he's going to just carve right through the National League. He's already got 10 saves in 16 appearances and 1.69 ERA, no home runs, I believe. If he does, I'm trying to remember. I think he might have 1 home run given up, and I think that was Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, and who can stop Ellie De La Cruz? So, going back to the standings and, just wanting to talk about that. If we were to stop this season now, you would have Orioles, Guardians, Yankees, all going to the playoffs, along with the Royals and Tigers, I believe. Let me see here, double check. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. So, if we were to look at the standings, yes. So, don't double check. Sorry. And another thing, I'll bring it up in a few seconds here after we look at this. Orioles, Guardians, Mariners would all represent their division, with the Yankees, Royals, and Tigers in the wild card for the American League. National League, you would have the Braves, Brewers, and Dodgers representing their divisions, and the Phillies, Cubs, Cincinnati Reds, and New York Mets tied for the last spot in the wild card. So it would be Phillies, Cubs going, and then the Reds and Mets would have to play I believe, a 1-game heads up tiebreaker, or it might be whoever's scored more runs if we ended the season today on May 3rd, Friday, as I record. But I did want to talk about a few other things. Unfortunately, with baseball, you get injuries, and the big injury for baseball in general are Rendon. He went down a few weeks ago. And then we just heard that Mike Trout, center fielder, all star MVP, is going to have knee surgery. So uh, he has a torn meniscus in the knee, so he'll have to have that repaired. They're saying that he might come back this year, but knowing his track record, people are already writing articles and just downing on this guy, just beating up on him. Scott A. Smith can't stand that guy. To be honest with you, he's already talking a lot of ish on Mike Trout, and you know what? It's all deserved in a sense where he has just had terrible luck in keeping healthy. He's had several different types of injuries, not just the same injury over and over and over and over again. But he might have to look at his himself and what his goals are and what the goals of the team are, and move out of center field after this season. So looking at 2025, is Mike Trout going to be a corner infielder or a straight just DH? Is he going to do what Bryce Harper did and try and work at a different position in the infield, first base, where he doesn't have to put so much stress on his body? I know the guy loves working hard, putting in the innings, and doing all the work that he does for the Angels, but I mean, there's got to be a point where you say, it's enough. I gotta stop. Can't keep doing this to myself over all these years. He's been in the league for 11 plus seasons. So I don't know what he's thinking now, but you have some injuries there. I know the Astros just sent down Jose Abreu to Rookie Ball League, and that's crazy in itself. I mean, he's playing with guys that are going to be 16 to 19 years old. Uh, Not even low A, high A, double A, triple A, straight rookie ball. And he agreed to this assignment. Joey Lopefredo came up and is playing great in outfield for the Astros. And speaking of, teams changing up their rosters who might be out of the playoffs, I'm not saying that the Astros are out of the playoff picture. Obviously, the Astros are the Astros. They're going to pitch well. They're going to find their groove as far as the bats go. It's just a matter of when. Will it be in a week and they'll be able to come back? Will it be in a month when it's too late and we're already looking at June and possibly some trade offers? The Angels are already selling off. They sold off Jimmy Herget, who did well for them a couple years ago in the bullpen, the major league level, and he is now with the Braves, who seems like the Angels just love, or their GM at least, who does have ties with the Atlanta Braves, keeps on trading and trading and trading with the same team. So I think that it's a bad luck for the Angels there with Trout out, Rendon out. You got Hicks released, Willie Calhoun, Joe Adell, Mickey Moniak, Taylor Ward are your outfield and your bench outfielder, your fourth guy in Willie Calhoun. You don't have a true DH anymore. Otani's on the other side of the 5 freeway in Los Angeles, wearing Dodgers blue. Angels fans are still attending games. I've seen the numbers, and Artie Moreno is not losing any money. He's not losing money because he's got the fans. He's got the TV deal. That's all good. He's gravy. He's Gucci. So what are we doing when you support a guy like Artie Moreno and he's not putting a product on a field that is competitive? The Angels may as well just end up fourth again or last place this year. And it might be the Angels and the Astros. It's going to be a crazy standings when we. As far as the other teams, obviously White Sox have suffered a lot of injuries, and the standings show it. I mean, they have 6 wins. They are the only. Sorry, not the only team. There are 3 teams that only have single-digit wins: the Chicago White Sox, the Miami Marlins, and the Colorado Rockies. Uh, but the White Sox do have the least amount of wins in 6. The Rockies in 7, and Marlins have 9. So, if you're looking at these teams, these 3 teams, what do we do? I know that in Colorado, you possibly look at Chris Bryant and think about a trade, maybe. He's locked up for a few years, and it's long term. It was very confusing to myself and all of baseball, I think, when Chris Bryant said, "I want to go to Colorado." Maybe it was a Mike Trout kind of thing where he thought he could win I don't know, a title, a division title there with them in the West. But then you look at the teams, and you have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, and the Giants above you in that order going into today, Friday. Um, Over on the American League side, with the White Sox, they were supposed to be contenders for a little bit. Then they lost some guys. Brayu a couple years ago to the Astros, and then Tim Anderson was obviously let go, more or less. He didn't pick up an option on his contract, and you can't win when you're playing 200 ball or below that. Uh, as far as the East, American League East is. I know they say that the Central, obviously, they have 4 teams out of 5 that are playing 500 ball. But if you look at the American League East, everyone is pretty much within striking distance. Maybe the Rays are, struggling a little bit. They're playing under 500 ball. The Toronto Blue Jays are under 500 ball, but you have the Orioles, you have the Yankees, you have the Red Sox, are all over 500, and then you have the Blue Jays and the Rays, who are just a couple games out of reach. Just one series can make a big difference for the Jays and the Rays. It's the same thing with the let's see, National League. You have the Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pirates started out extremely well. Now they're 6 games back of first. I didn't think their hot start would stay in April, but I didn't think they would fall to last place either. So, as I said before, you can lose the season in April, but you cannot win it either. So, I'm just taking what we've been given, about 30 games, 31 games or so, and looking at that and trying to get a picture as to what we'll see in about 4 months. So that'll be May, June, July, August. Yeah, going into August, you pretty much know who's going into the playoffs as far as standings when everything is done at the end of August. Going into September, there's another month of play. You have about 30 games, and then it's done. It's all done and said. But I think at the end of August, middle of September, you know who's going where and what the seating might be. It might come down to a couple of games in the AL East and the NL West, but the other divisions, I think it'll be pretty much set as far as who's going where in the seating. So that's it for today. This is the weekly wrap up. Randy Nunez, your host, between the chalk lines every week, Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. You know where to catch us or catch me. Again, every week. Come and listen to us and me and talk to you and watch me on YouTube, which is youtube.com/at between chalk lines. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It helps. If you can, please leave a like or a comment, or review, whatever it may be. Let me know what you want to hear about. Let me know who you want to hear about. And you can follow me on X, which is at BTC Lines. So at Between the Chalk Lines, basically shortened. TikTok, at Between the Chalk Lines. On Instagram, at Between the Chalk Lines. And hopefully I will have a Facebook for the podcast up soon. Or you can just follow me personally, Randy Nunez, on Facebook. I'll catch you next week. Always will talk all the time. Bye.